There once was a penguin named Cube, who really liked chomping on food. I haven't been on for oh so long, but even so, I still miss that dude. Hey guys, James here, and today I want to talk about Animal Crossing New Horizons. At the start of quarantine, this game was huge, and it became a defining part of world culture. Despite such a great and impactful start, it seems like the game has sort of fallen off a bit, at least in most groups I've seen. Naturally, part of it is just the game not being new anymore, but I think at its core, New Horizons was lacking in some important aspects which would have given the game more longevity. So while a lot of what I'm about to say will sound pretty negative, please understand. I do think New Horizons is genuinely a really great and wholesome experience, and I've had magical moments throughout the game, but I just think in a lot of ways it seems like a bit of a step back from previous Animal Crossing games. Overall, the game just doesn't do enough to keep you playing. The monthly content releases are awesome and I commend the developers, but unless you wanted to collect every item, fish, and bug, I just can't see how this game can keep you engaged. I went from playing it every day to being completely uninterested, even with the monthly updates. Ultimately, I can't help but feel like this game has a ton of missed potential. So here are what I think are some of the main issues with the game at the moment. First, I think crafting was a mistake. I don't mind crafting furniture and whatnot, but when it came to crafting tools, I feel like it became a huge chore and not an enjoyable game loop at all. Having to go back and forth or craft like 5 of a tool ahead of time just felt tedious, and the crafting bench itself is just so slow and poorly designed. Next, I think the huge emphasis on island design is one which ultimately hurt the game. I had a friend tell me that this was the best Animal Crossing game ever, and the reasoning was that this game was more customizable than any other previous game. This is definitely true, and with the addition of terraforming, we were able to see a variety of crazy islands. As cool as it was though, after you spent dozens of hours designing the island you wanted, the rest of the game just felt shallow. For one thing, despite the largest selection of villagers ever and being able to have 10 on your island, a lot of the time the characters felt flat. It felt like a lot of them just didn't have a unique personality, and they felt sort of cookie cutter with everyone in a personality type having the same lines. Every once in a while there might be some cool interactions with the villagers, and I liked how they would use items on the island, but a lot of the time they just weren't that engaging or interesting. Maybe it's just me, but villagers used to ask you to help out with way more tasks. They used to have their own personal friendships and grudges, and they used to have so much more spunk, but it seems like they were neutered in a lot of ways. Nook's Cranny and the other buildings also just don't feel as interesting as the buildings in older games. In New Leaf, you had the main street, which had Club LOL, the Fortune Shop, the Garden Shop, Kicks, Able Sisters, Nookling Junction, in addition to retail and the coffee shop, which were in your town itself. They consolidated a bunch of these, making it a bit more simplified, but as a result, the game feels less vibrant, and now you really feel limited to just Nook's Cranny for any purchases. Why did they take out the auction and selling function of retail? It was so much fun being able to trick your villagers to buy your overpriced stuff. Finally, I think they really butchered the multiplayer in this game, which seemed like a big thing they were pushing for. I was so psyched for local multiplayer, but after finally trying it, we found out that any non-leader characters were pretty much useless, and you had to wait for some dumb animations anytime you wanted to pick anything up. My girlfriend bought a Switch just to play AC because of how useless the secondary characters are. Then you get to the online multiplayer, which was pretty meh. There's just not much you can really do. The whole process of opening your gates and connecting to someone is just so slow and tedious. Then when the person finally gets there, other than showing off your island and whacking each other with tools, there really isn't too much to do. What happened to the awesome vacation island Kappa would take you to? In New Leaf, going to the vacation island would allow you to play a variety of mini-games with your friends, and while they weren't all amazing games, they at least gave you something to do with others. Here, you can fly to other islands, but most of them are fairly bland grind sessions, and you can't even bring a guest with you to explore. I feel like the biggest missed potential in this game was not giving furniture some more uses, such as allowing you to play some sort of minigame with others. Even if it was a silly boxing minigame, or darts, or anything really, it would have been nice. I commend the community on being able to figure out cool games and things to do, and I really enjoyed seeing people setting up things like talk shows through the game, but in terms of actual offerings from Nintendo themselves, it's pretty disappointing. I really wanted to love this game, but after playing it more, I can't help but feel like New Horizons fell just a bit flat. I don't know how realistic it is to expect constant monthly updates past the first year, but if they really want people to continue playing, I think they'll need to add more content and things to do in the game. In its current iteration, I feel like the game is more about island design rather than island living, and ultimately, I think that takes away from what made Animal Crossing so special. But hey, that's just me. Feel free to let me know down below if you have any thoughts on Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'd love to hear from you. And if you made it this far, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do consider hitting that like or subscribe button, as it really helps my channel grow. I love to talk about any sort of gaming topics and would love to hear from the community. And as usual, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.